I learnt this from my acting teacher. When you first read a play or a script, write down everything you think, because
I could not be more excited. Actually, I'm 11 years excited. When I talk about it, I always just grateful.
Well, that was just a neat little surprise. Rob Liefeld, who drew Lady Pool.
I love Rob.
He's cool,
Isn't
right?
he great?
Yeah. He
gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife.
Time I was cast in the Green Lantern with my now husband, who is not my husband then.
Wearing an adult diaper. This movie has been just the biggest pain in the ass to get made,
and I didn't call because I wanted it just to be my without any questions.
Ryan Reynolds just got fired from Disney. At least, that's what the internet is saying. And if you think that sounds wild, it gets even crazier. Rumors are spreading like wildfire. Something massive went down behind the scenes, and it might have cost Ryan everything. But it's not just about him. Blake Lively's name is suddenly in the mix, Hugh Jackman's dropping cryptic hints, and some insiders are whispering that the Mouse House might be scrambling to cover its tracks. So what actually happened? Sources say the tension had been simmering for months. Behind the red carpets and perfectly filtered selfies, Disney and Ryan Reynolds were in a slow-motion collision course. It finally blew up during a private, high-level meeting with Disney executives. According to whispers from inside the building, Ryan stormed out mid-discussion after a heated exchange that left the room frozen. Raised voices, slamming doors, heated phone calls. It wasn't just a disagreement, it was a meltdown. And this wasn't just some creative dispute over a line in a script. This was something deeper. Something that left Disney execs feeling cornered and worse, betrayed. They had poured millions, possibly hundreds of millions, into Ryan's projects. Deadpool wasn't just a superhero movie. It was a franchise built around Reynolds' entire personality. His charm, his wit, the irreverent tone he brings, that was the brand. So for Disney, this wasn't business, it was personal. Behind the scenes, people say the studio tried to salvage things. But once the meltdown happened, something shifted. Phone calls stopped. Meetings got cancelled. Then came the quiet blackout. No public statements. No comments. Just silence. And in Hollywood, silence usually means something big is brewing. Now here's where it gets stranger. Suddenly, Blake Lively's name started popping up in conversations. What did she have to do with this? On the surface, nothing. But insiders say her influence behind the scenes may have ruffled some feathers. She reportedly voiced concerns over the direction of the Deadpool character, especially its tone under Disney. Some say she wanted more control, others believe she just wanted to protect her husband's image. Either way, it didn't sit well with the execs. The speculation? That Disney saw her involvement as interference. And in the ultra-controlled world of Disney branding, that's the kind of thing that triggers alarms. The mouse doesn't like messy. It doesn't like unpredictability. And it definitely doesn't like being challenged. But then, out of nowhere, Hugh Jackman entered the chat. Not directly, of course. Hugh is too polished to call anyone out by name. But eagle-eyed fans noticed a shift in his tone. In interviews and on social media, he began making subtle references. Little digs, cryptic posts, even jokes that seemed a bit too pointed to be random. One in particular stood out. In a now-deleted post, Hugh shared a photo of a stormy sky with the caption, "Some storms come when people..."
I learnt this from my acting teacher. When you first read a play or a script, write down everything you think, because...
And Rob Liefeld drew Lady Pool based on, he and his wife watched Gossip Girl.
Yes.
So it just was just...
People think they're untouchable. It was vague. But the timing? Suspiciously perfect. Was Hugh talking about Ryan? Some fans were convinced. Others pointed to rumors that the two had a falling out during the early days of filming Deadpool and Wolverine. Their bromance had always been a little chaotic. Half playful, half competitive, but what if it wasn't all fun and games anymore? Then came the curveball nobody saw coming, a lawsuit. Filed by actor Justin Baldoni, of all people. The case centered around a character he created, Nice Pool. That's right. Nice Pool. It sounds ridiculous, but insiders believe the character was a not-so-subtle parody of Deadpool himself. The lawsuit claimed copyright infringement and emotional distress, but the real story? It might have been personal. Some say Baldoni had beef with Reynolds over a scrapped collaboration. Others believe he was targeting someone else entirely. Blake. What's clear is that the legal chaos added fuel to an already raging fire. Disney, now juggling public backlash, internal drama, and a bizarre court case, decided it was time to pull the plug. Or at least, that's how the story goes. Reynolds' team has remained silent. No confirmations. No denials. Just more silence. But here's the thing. This isn't the first time Ryan Reynolds has clashed with a studio. If you look closely at his career, there's a pattern. He's famously hands-on, sometimes to the point of micromanaging. He improvises on set, rewrites his own lines, and has even taken over directing duties in some scenes. That creative control is part of what made Deadpool work. But it's also made him a nightmare for certain execs. Back in his Fox days, rumors of tension swirled constantly. Some directors loved working with him. Others? Not so much. He's walked away from projects mid-production before. He's butted heads with screenwriters, pushed back against producers, and even tanked entire campaigns when he didn't agree with the marketing. So for Disney, a company built on brand uniformity and corporate structure, Ryan Reynolds may have always been a risky bet. What's more, Marvel's entire cinematic universe has been going through an identity crisis. With recent projects underperforming, behind-the-scenes changes, and growing backlash from fans, the pressure on big stars like Reynolds has never been higher. So when the meltdown happened, the suits at Disney may have seen it as a chance to quietly cut ties and regain control. But if that's the case, why hasn't anyone come out and confirmed it? That's where the real mystery lies.
So it just was just a crazy, it's just like how the world just kind of.
So he had already had you
places
in mind for that?
There's some people, like, I've had people who, like, I don't necessarily, like, we're not best buddies at all moments, but, like, do we do well together?
Some fans believe the silence is strategic. A calculated move to protect future contracts, or avoid further media attention. Others think Disney is playing chess, waiting for the right time to announce a replacement or pivot Deadpool's direction entirely. And while all this was going on, Blake Lively started quietly wiping mentions of certain Disney projects from her social media. She unfollowed a few execs, changed some bios. Tiny moves, but they didn't go unnoticed. Fans picked up on the breadcrumbs immediately, adding even more heat to the speculation. Still, others believe the real bombshell hasn't even dropped yet. That Hugh Jackman might be holding back. That there's more to his cryptic messages than we realize. Some even think he's planning to go public, with a tell-all interview, or maybe a candid reveal once the new Deadpool film is officially wrapped. Whatever he knows, he's been careful not to say it, at least not yet. So now we're left with a tangled mess of silence, speculation, and scandal. Was Ryan Reynolds really fired? Did Blake Lively play a role in the fallout? Is Hugh Jackman the key to unlocking the full story? Or is this all just a smokescreen for something even bigger happening inside the Disney Marvel machine? One thing is clear. Nothing in Hollywood happens by accident. These people are media trained, legally protected, and always one step ahead of the story. But even the best PR spin can't cover up everything. Especially when fans are watching and dissecting every move. The deeper you look, the more this starts to feel like a carefully managed exit, not a spontaneous meltdown. And if that's true, then maybe this whole situation isn't about Ryan's behavior at all. Maybe it's about control. About protecting a brand that's starting to crack under its own weight. About reshaping the Marvel universe without admitting it's broken. Because in the end, Disney doesn't just fire people, they erase them. Quietly. Efficiently. And if Ryan Reynolds really did go too far, then we're not just witnessing the end of a contract.